much, and you could meditate, and you could quiet your mind, and you could allow your vibration to rise where your inner being could offer you a suggestion. Here's the thing that's tripping you up. This is so good. We are so happy to say this to you. This is going to be so valuable to you in the days and weeks that are following. So here's what's tripping all of you up. Your inner being is giving you the answer to everything that you want, but you can't hear it outside of your beliefs. So even though your inner being knows where your fortunes are, knows where to guide you, you can't hear it because you're vibrationally all wadded up in the what is. However,
are you talking about me specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
However,
because I do meditate in the morning.
Wait, but you didn't know this. You didn't know this that you're about to understand, that you're about to feel resonance with. So when you quiet your mind and you detach, and you feel that detachment, and you're there for a little while, a few minutes maybe, and something occurs to you, something feels interesting, like I think I'll get a Slurpee at 7-Eleven, even something that unspiritual.
I get those impulse.
When you follow it, and when you consistently follow it, before long those impulses are going to turn into something tangible enough that you can realize that you were receiving guidance that was guiding you in the best way that you could receive it toward the ideas that will blossom into the things that you are wanting.
So in that moment when I notice I can't afford something, don't worry about it.
Yes, of course, that's what we recommend, but we would be recommending something impossible. That's like saying your train's going 100 miles an hour in the direction you don't want to go, and all of a sudden just stop the momentum. Well, you're not going to stop the momentum. You're not going to stop the momentum of that. The only way you can turn that momentum around quickly is to fall off a cliff. We're not kidding. If you were to fall off a cliff, that happens really fast. We're not making fun of anything, but you would, in that what you call death experience, you would suspend that lackful thought and you would swoop into the fullness of who you are. That's a quantum leap most of you don't want to take. And so a kinder, gentler way to go about it is to just allow yourself to take a nap, go to sleep, change the subject, accept what is, satisfaction with what is. Just do your best to say, well, here it is, and things are working out for me, and I can't see how they're working out for me, but I want to believe that they're working out for me, and maybe they are working out for me. And I do like the idea that there are two ends of the stick, and that all of this uncomfortable experience that I've had has accomplished something. Maybe there is a vibrational reality. It could be that Abraham really knows something about that, and maybe I can find my way to that. And what's my path of least resistance to the state of vibrational beingness that would allow me to be the receiver? You have to find a way to allow yourself to be the receiver. And there's lots of things that you think you wanted. Inheritance would be nice, but my family didn't set me up for that. And the lottery would be nice, but I know the odds too much, and so I'm blocking that. And this could happen, and this could happen, but there are so many other ways through which it can come. We are appreciating this conversation so much because you're hitting upon something that so many people feel. You cannot face a reality that doesn't please you and be in that moment allowing the one that does. And so this is what we really want you to hear, because you heard something from us earlier. You heard us say, and we felt you feel the resonance with us when you heard it, and that was, your inner being never looks back. Your inner being never looks back. Did you hear it? And did you sort of kind of understand it and believe it? Your inner being never looks back. Now hear this. We have not said this before. It's your doing that has accomplished this statement, and it matters a lot. And we're all really appreciative that you've prodded us into this statement that is beneficial to the entire universe as you hear it and take it home with you and know it. What you call now reality is looking back, because the manifestation has already taken place. That's like cooking the last egg in the kitchen and not doing it well, and there's just not that much you can do about it because you don't have another egg. That was so profound.
Yeah. How do you reconcile the teaching of Buddhism that says desire is the cause of all suffering with, you talk about desire?
It's the truth. It's the truth.
What's the truth? The desire is the cause of all suffering?
Yes.
All right.
Well, listen to this. Didn't we just say to you that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want? And didn't we just say to you that any suffering is because you have evolved to a new place and you're not letting yourself go? If there were no desire, then there would be no other end of that. If there were not a desire that you were pinching yourself off from, you wouldn't feel pain. But that doesn't mean don't create desire. That means don't push against the desire that you've created. That's just more of a statement about both ends of the stick. Esther has said to us in some suffering that she has done, either over something like Jerry taking off or her own anger about something. That's suffering too. In other words, when you're accustomed to feeling good, a little bit of anger goes a long way. And she knows, because she's heard it from us and she's lived it. She owns this. She knows that her discomfort is always because she's out of vibrational whack with what Abraham knows to be. And there have been occasions where Esther has said to us, Abraham, come over here and join me in my lackful thought so that I don't feel the discord between you and me. And that's the same conversation. If someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me, I'm just calling to tell you that I will never call you again, you would say, alrighty then. You would feel no suffering. But if someone dear and important to you were to call and say that to you, you would suffer because of the desire. It is the realness of this law-based understanding. Every particle of the universe contains that which is wanted and absence of it.
Well, I think what maybe the Buddhists could be getting at are the
we just told you what the Buddhists were getting at. We just told you. This family of teachers includes that too. Esther receives letters from long practiced Buddhists, long students of Buddhists all the time, who say to her, I now understand what they've been trying to teach me in ways I've never understood before. When you get to the basis of things, then you can begin to understand.
What about the sorry substitutes? You know, someone who's shooting heroin, it's a sorry substitute. You know, sex addict, what they really want is alignment.
Well, they're trying to fill the void.
But isn't that those kind of desires are what cause suffering? The misguided desires that don't get you what you really want?
Well, looking for love in all the wrong places always feels bad. When you're looking for it where it isn't, or using some substitute that isn't it,
but
it
is that
always
what the
feels
Buddhists
bad.
are talking about, possibly?
No, we just told you what the Buddhists are talking
all right.
about.
I'm having a debate with you.
It's an understanding that in every particle of the universe that there is wanted and unwanted, or what is wanted and lack of it, and they exist equally. And once knowing what you don't want has caused you to create what you do want, then you have a choice to keep looking toward what you don't want, which will hold you now in opposition to what you do want. And if the creation of what you do want hadn't happened, then you could look at what you don't want and not feel nearly so much discord. But once you've expanded there, you have no choice, if you want to feel good, other than to go. So it is an absolute accurate statement that your desire that you've carved out of this life is the reason that you ever feel pain. But it needs to be added, when you look in opposition to your desire, you can feel nothing other than pain. And when you don't look in opposition to your desire, you will not feel pain. When you look in the direction of your desire, you will feel exaltation, you will feel power, you will feel clarity, you will feel whole. You say, ooh. Yeah.
Just to finish off.
Say again?
Just to finish off, say there's somebody who just wants to be famous. That's not me, and they just can't be happy unless they're famous or they're rich. I mean, it just seems like there's so much suffering in going after something.
At the basis of your judgmental proclamation about them. It's all right, because you can't help but notice something and notice it from your vantage point. So it's all right for you to have an opinion about that. That your inner being may or may not share, in this case doesn't share. Underneath every stated desire is another desire, and beneath that is another, 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 and so forth. So at the basis of someone wanting fame is the desire to be understood, the desire to be recognized, the desire to be known, the desire to be validated. And the reason for that, we talked about this yesterday, all of you came from non-physical energy where you felt that constant validation, that constant respect and acknowledgement of your value and power. And then a part of you, part of that consciousness was born into this body, where it's a little dicier out here in the human realm, because your parents have already forgotten their connection. A lot of people have forgotten their connection, and yet humans keep looking to each other for validation. They want to get approval from each other. What they really want is alignment with source, which source is giving them all day every day. But humans have come to this place where they have to justify. Esther discovered this about herself, surprised her, really surprised her, not that long ago, when she was having a conversation with someone she cares so much about, and they were on different ends of a subject, and Esther wanted so much to explain. She was being misunderstood. This person had a complete misunderstanding of Esther and her reasoning and her motives, and Esther so much wanted this person to understand her so that this person could resonate with her. Esther so wanted resonating with this person, but it was an impossible thing, because this person had momentum coming from another place. Esther was not ever going to achieve this resonating between this person, and she wanted it. She felt desperate for it. The conversation went on and on and on, off and on and off and on, for days and days and days and days and days. She never got there. And then we began talking about, you're looking for it in the wrong places. She's craving resonance with her inner being and wanting so much to be understood by others. You got to not give a rip about what anybody thinks about you, because first of all, they're not all that interested in you. Next of all, they haven't paid that much attention. And next of all, they may or may not be in vibrational alignment with who they are. But so many people are seeking that natural desire to be understood and loved, which source will give them all day, every day. But because this connection, especially in the beginning, is really subtle. Esther's relationship with Jerry is really subtle. She has to really tune to have a conversation with him now. She used to just be able to walk into the room, didn't matter what mood either one of them were in, they were together and they were having a conversation. Now it's subtle because she has to tune, you see. And so most humans have not learned to tune with that subtlety for the connection that they are craving. And so then they lazily, or in a flawed premise, misunderstanding kind of way, they look for it in others. And that's why so many people seek that kind of fame. It feels like validation to them. But haven't you noticed that a lot of them are miserable, and a lot of them, they don't get what they're wanting, and high rate of suicide among them, and because even though they're sometimes getting it, they're not always getting it. It never comes steadily from any place other than your source. That's the only place that you can really depend on. If you're looking for it from any other person, maybe they're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and maybe that's the state of being they're in when they're holding you as their object attention, and maybe because of their alignment they're flooding it all over you, and under those conditions you would feel really